my jam, and that's the fact. Everybody say Wildcats, 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 Wildcats. Houston's for a king, got them diamond ring.
Football.
My little girls and no other sucker made a banner that was a bad mother.
Don't cuss.
Not us.
Welcome to the Married with Picks podcast, season 5, episode 7, week 7.
My name is Fitz.
Okay, so we'll get right into it here. So last week was the week of the public. So the public actually came out ahead in a lot of these games. I think all the 6 point or more favorites covered, except the biggest favorite on the board, which was the Eagles. All right, so this week we have 2 teams on bye, the Bears and the Cowboys. And first game is the Patriots at the Jaguars in London. Open at -6 in favor of the Jags. It's at -5.5. This game is going to be in London. It will be at Wembley Stadium instead of whatever the other one was called. I believe there might be some rain in the forecast for this one as well. So we have 2 1-5 teams. I'm not quite sure the Jags deserve to be 5.5 point favorites on anyone. I would assume that if the Jags lose this game, once they get back on American soil, Peterson would get fired. I would have to lean in favor of the Patriots. The one thing that has me a little worried is the Patriots did not leave for London until Thursday. I think they probably should have left earlier.
The Jaguars stayed over there?
Yes.
Because they played last week.
Yes.
Against the Bears.
Now, I don't want to go down before the 1 o'clock games even kick off, so I'm not putting any money on this game.
Oh, man, you feel... It sounds like you're bent after last weekend.
Well, it sucks if, you put in a parlay and you're dead before the 1 o'clock games even kick off.
Yeah, I agree. Don't pick a wrong one, then.
So I put in a 10-team teaser parlay every week, and last week I went down on the Jags.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this Patriots team, because it's not the same team that's been playing for the beginning of the 2024 season. Talk to me about Drake May. I mean,
the
he's
quarterback is the only difference. Other than that, it is the same team.
All right, well,
which is problematic.
It's a quarterback league is basically what I'm saying. So does that, I guess you're saying it doesn't change anything and you shouldn't really expect a win, though, from the Patriots?
I mean, that's the way I would lean, but I don't know that the rest of the team around him is that good. Their defense sucks. The Jags defense sucks.
Yeah, I typically will play against a rookie quarterback getting thrown in the middle of the season. But I don't know that I feel that here. I've been on the Jags, but it's like one of those things where it's like I've had enough of the Jags, and every time that I want to I always think the Jags are going to turn it around. I've been thinking this season, and every time I want to throw in a towel, they had turned around and covered. But I mean, it's a lot of points.
Well, you have to assume, there were reports a couple of weeks ago, and some of the things that were said, in press conferences, that Peterson has completely lost the team. Now, they didn't fire him last week, which I think would be bad etiquette to fire the guy while he's in London for 2 weeks. So if you are on the team and you don't, you're not buying into the coach anymore, this would be the game where you don't put in the effort to...
Well, if they were in America last week, do you think he would have been fired?
Yes.
After 35-16? That's what I'm saying. So, maybe it's logistically difficult to fire a coach in the middle of a 2-game run in London.
Well, yeah, I definitely think it's bad etiquette.
I don't know about etiquette, but how do you, the logistics?
You have to get him, a plane ticket home, I guess, right? Because he can't ride on the plane with the rest of the team at that point. I'm looking
more at, okay, you're gonna press conference a new coach in.
No, they don't press conference a new coach in. It's an interim coach. I
don't know.
But regardless. All right. Well, what's your pick?
I mean, I think
you like Drake May? Did you like what you saw last week?
I did like what I saw. I thought that he, even though they got trounced, he moved the ball and he can run. I think he's a little faster than I thought. I didn't really expect that. And I like the tag team between him and Hunter May.
Who?
Or Hunter Henry. I'm sorry.
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry. My computer went blank because I didn't lose it. I think it threw me off there. I thought it shut down. Yeah, Hunter Henry.
Okay.
Who is that?
Oh, come on.
Hi.
Hello.
We have a special guest on the podcast this week.
Look at you. Come on in.
Come on
Say
in.
hi.
This is your once a year jump into the podcast, Married with Picks there, Jake and Brady. Say hi.
Hi.
So listen, we're talking about the Patriots and the Jaguars. Do you know either of those two teams?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, well, who do you think's going to win? The Patriots are at the Jaguars, right? And they have to win by more than 5.5 points. Do you like the Patriots or the Jaguars?
Jaguars.
Jaguars?
Yeah.
Dougie P, you think you can get it done? Both of you?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Look, it's way past your bedtime, so.
All right. So our next game is Eagles at Giants. Do you have any take on that game?
Oh, you want to jump?
Eagles.
Eagles? They like the Eagles, huh? That's my boys. I love them, even though they could be misguided sometimes with the Eagles, but it's blind faith.
All
I
right.
love
Good night,
it.
boys.
All
I
right, give me a
thought
hug.
we got to stay in here for an hour.
Oh, no. You get to say hi to the camera, wave to the camera. Now get the heck out of here and get to bed. All right?
Get out.
All right, love
All right.
you guys.
Go.
Good night.
No, I have to get that.
All right, buddy. I love you.
Bye.
Going famous, Jake and Brady.
All right. Out.
Out the door, buddy.
No.
Come on, Brady.
All right. So next game
All right,
is
so listen, I didn't even make a pick here, right? But I'm going to take the Patriots because I just think it's too many points with the Jaguars.
okay.
I agree with the first thing you said was I don't think that they should be favored by 5.5 on anybody.
The one thing that really has me worried is the fact that the Patriots didn't leave until Thursday. I think it's a good idea. Like the Bears last week left on Monday. I think
you're
it's
making too big of a
good
deal about
idea
that. I
to
think they
leave
needed-
early, get acclimated to the time change, get acclimated to the surroundings.
I think they got enough going on trying to get Drake May up and ready in this offense, and it just makes it easier if you do it at home and then take off late. So I agree with it this time. Normally, I know what you're saying, and you're trying to get a well-oiled machine that you've been practicing through training camp, right? But they've got a different identity
If
now
this was
with Drake
Belichick,
starting.
he would have left earlier.
All right, so who are you taking? I'm taking the Patriots.
I don't have a pick, but I would lean Patriots.
All right, Birds Giants.
Yes. So it's open at Eagles -3.5. It's at Eagles -3. This is a division game. Eagles have won the last 6 games. They've won 5 by more than 3 points. The Giants' only win was on January 7th of 2024, which was a meaningless end of season game because your record last year was a lot better. So the Eagles are going to be without. Is he their left tackle, Jordan Mailata? Left tackle?
Right tackle.
Okay, right tackle. And Giants.
Sorry, left tackle.
I thought so because I looked it up. Giants will be without their left tackle, Andrew Thomas. They do have 2 defensive players, Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns, who are questionable. It sounds like they will play, but that's something to keep an eye on. And Malik Neighbors will be back in this game. Now,
That's the big one.
the money is heavy on the Eagles in this one. I am going to take the Eagles at -3. But I'm a little worried about the fact that there's so much money on the Eagles, which is kind of surprising to me.
It's kind of surprising to me, so I don't know if it's too early yet. I mean, like, you're 3 days out. Is all the sharp money, I guess, is probably in early, but I think that could, change since a lot of people don't usually put bets in until later. But I don't know. I think, because I'm thinking that I thought the public would be on the Giants on this side. The Eagles haven't looked good.
No, and the Giants have played much better than last year, and I think most people anticipate it this year. They did get a win without Malik Neighbors 2 weeks ago in Seattle, so...
And for that reason, I thought that,
But I will tell you, because we got to
on the
watch
Giants.
the last game, and it was painful, just like watching the Jaguars. It's like 4 yards on first down, 2 yards on second down, 4 yards on third down. And that totally totals 8 yards. And
I was
then
at the game, so
they
I
go
know what
for
you
it
mean.
on 4th and 2. It's horrible. It's horrible to watch.
It's boring. Well, the problem is that they I think they have a total of 25 yards on the opening drives this year in, 6 games? 5 games? It's horrible.
So, I mean, maybe with Neighbors back, that will help a little bit. But I still just got to go with the Eagles here.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Eagles here because I just think it's a breakout game for the Eagles because most of the problem here's the problem. You got Jordan Mailata is a big loss for the Eagles. He is really good, but I think he's replaceable. They have some good options on the bench. The problem here for the Giants is that this is a Saquon revenge game, and the problem with the Eagles is that they don't nearly run the ball enough. They ran the ball a lot against the Packers, but not even enough for my liking. I think they probably had a little over 30 carries for the whole game. They need to get up in that range minimally. But I think because this is the Saquon revenge game coming back up to New York, they probably game plan a little bit to help Saquon, kind of rub it in here. I think they will give more carries than they have the last 5 games.
I almost think it's more of a Giants revenge game against Saquon, and I think they're going to do whatever they can to stop him.
Yeah, but see, like you could say because he went to Philadelphia, the rival, but it's not revenge Giants because if you know the history, they made him a franchise player, which twice, right? And as a player, you don't want to be franchised at all. You want a long-term deal and feel comfortable, right? So he got screwed for 2 years, even though he made good money. And, it's not like, he should have signed with the Giants because those 2 years they screwed around with him and basically told him, go find another deal. They weren't going to bring him back. So the Giants screwed Saquon. Saquon just luckily walked into a $12 million a year deal for 3 years with the Eagles. You don't have to blink another eye. He wasn't even thinking he was going to get that much. He thought he was probably going to get more in the area between 5 and 10.
All I know is you guys could have got Derrick Henry cheaper.
That's true.
Moving on. Next game, Bengals at Browns. Bengals open at -1. Favorites, they're up to -5.5. This is a division game as well. Browns have actually won 6 of the last 8 games that these teams have played. Last 2 years, they actually split, each team winning 1. Now, the Browns are getting Nick Chubb back. They did trade away Amari Cooper. I don't really know what that means. Browns defense hasn't been playing as well this year as they did last year. Bengals are still desperate for wins to try to get into a position to make the playoffs. And this would go a long way being a division game. So I'm going to take the Bengals. I haven't seen anything out of the Browns.
Yeah, I just think, with Amari Cooper gone, it's going to be tough to get that passing game going. And, we sat in that game. That's who the Eagles played. So I went to that game last week, and he looked like he struggled. He just should not have stayed out of the NFL for that long. He just definitely didn't do anything to keep himself in game speed.
Their offensive line has a lot of issues. They're historically had it better.
Well, I'm really big on Chase Brown. The running game for Cincinnati is starting to get going. And between Chase Brown and Zach Moss, they're really looking like they have an answer for losing Joe Mixon. Jamar Chase is getting going. T. Higgins back now for the second or third week. I think it's the third week that he's back since injury. So I'm looking for Joe Burrow to really, maybe not even this week, because the Browns have a decent defense, but Joe Burrow is going to continue to progress, and I think that by the time we get to December, Cincinnati is going to show themselves as maybe the team to beat in the AFC.
All right. So you're on the Bengals?
Bengals -5.5.
All right, next game is the Titans at the Bills. It opened at -6.5 in favor of the Bills. It's up to -8.5. It sounds like the Bills will have James Cook back this week, and the coach had indicated that Amari Cooper will play, most likely, not 100%. He is probably, if he does well, because I don't know, in my opinion, Amari Cooper is not the best, but he definitely
a great fit there.
Gives them what they needed, which was a number 1 wide receiver.
Heck yeah. The other two guys becomes like Shakir, right, and the rookie, I think it's Coleman. They become so much better having a Cooper in the lineup to draw coverage,
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to see it. It's going to come down to the pressure is on QB1 again, So we're going to have to see. It's going to come down to, I think, between them, Cincinnati and Kansas City again.
I don't know. There's a lot of teams in the mix this year.
There definitely
Things are changing here. But the Bills
see what it's like in December.
certainly a team that can beat up on bad teams. Titans certainly qualify under that category. It is a big line, but I got to take the Bills. Could be a good week for the Bills defense. Maybe a touchdown there.
I think the key here is to get James Cook back. And the Titans are going nowhere fast. Let's just admit that. After losing at home to the Colts last week, they're 1-4. They're 0-3 at home, but they are going on the road here. And the Bills get James Cook, and that's probably the key to the success here for the Bills in Week 7. I'm going to take the Bills. They're -8.5. Anywhere under 10, I think it's a good play.
All right, next game is the Dolphins at the Colts. This opened at Dolphins -1. It has shifted to Colts -3.
You realize we're taking the same team every time so far.
I was going to wait until we got further down, but yes.
Let's see what happens.
Okay. So Dolphins are coming off of their bye week. So I am hoping, and I underlined hope, that Mike McDaniel took the time to develop a offensive plan for the quarterback who's starting this game, which is Tyler Huntley. It sounds like, and the Colts, I think, kind of pulled a fast one last week because I thought it was going to be Anthony Richardson that started last week. It was Joe Flacco. This week, I think they're saying it's going to be Richardson. I would not feel 100% confident in that. But I'm going to take the Dolphins here. And that is contingent on it being Richardson. And it is more of a wing and a prayer type thing that McDaniel did something useful in the bye week. But they've got a lot. McDaniel? I don't, but I mean, if you're him, like that's what you should have done. They have a lot of weapons on the team, so they should be able to get it done against the Colts.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I'm just telling you, this is probably a whole different avenue for me if Flacco was playing. Very similar to the thoughts that you had. I mean, I don't believe that Flacco's going to start this game. I mean, who knows if Anthony Richardson gets in, but I don't think they're doing the rope-a-dope here.
If he even finishes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance that Flacco gets in if Anthony Richardson struggles. But I think that's what's going to happen here. I think the Dolphins are going to come in. They have the bye week, like you say, last week, and A-Chain's back in, so he's going to get the start. Mostert is now healthy.
Mostert should be there.
He's going to be
He's
back
kind of a
up.
Sleeper pick this week, I think, in DFS, too.
I like them both, but it depends on how many carries he's going to get pillaged by A-Chain, because he's definitely the starter. But you have Hill, you got Waddle, playing, and I think Huntley still has something left in the tank that you should. He's one of those like A+ scrub quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Out of the scrubs that are like backups, like he's the guy that I would want that you could think you could win. You could win
a game with.
Well, let's see what happens. I mean, but if you got some weapons like A-Chain and Tyreek Hill and Mostert, don't forget about Waddle. They're looking to explode. So I think that if this is a different game, I'd be worried if Flacco was the quarterback. But with Richardson in there, the Dolphins' D is fast. They should be able to contain his running game. And don't forget, Jonathan Taylor's out. That's a big loss. I'm going to take the Dolphins as well. The same way.
Same side of that one. All right, so next game is the Texans at the Packers. This opened at -2.5 in favor of the Packers. It is at -2.5 in favor of the Packers.
I think this is where we change.
So, no, this is an interesting game. We have CJ Stroud versus Jordan Love, two young quarterbacks, two young teams. It should be a good game to watch. I don't have any real good information to back this up, but I gotta go Packers. I think the Texans are not as good on the road. They did blow out the Patriots last week, but they generally don't blow teams out. I think it could come down to a field goal at the end. It may very well be a 3-point game, but I got to take the Packers.
Well, you got C.J. Stroud, right, coming into the Packers, and I don't know if you looked at where the money was, but it feels like people are going to be on the Texans and that people are going to be rolling with the Texans the entire season.
It was on the Texans, and I was kind of surprised about that, too, because I would think the Packers are more popular.
No, I think that people are not sold on Jordan Love, even though he's really proven, when he's been healthy in this season, that he can be an effective quarterback, more than effective, right? Last year he won games, kind of like yeoman work, managed the games, but towards the end of the season, you started to see him come out of his shell and throw the ball around a little bit. I think this year he's proven that he is a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL. Going back to Houston, they have Joe Mixon back. Damian Pierce is back, so it's a good 1-2 punch. They traded Cam Akers to Minnesota. Minnesota acquired him last year, and then he hurt himself, and Houston picked him up in the offseason, but they've acquired him again in Minnesota, so he's gone. The Tank Dell and Steph Diggs still the main attraction there because you got Nico Collins on the IR. So that covers Houston. They're very strong and formidable, and I think people are falling in love with this team. But this is a week where I think you really got to take a strong consideration for Jordan Love and the Packers, right? Got Josh Jacobs running the ball. Christian Watson starting to come into his own. He caught, I think, at least one touchdown last week. Was it 2?
Well, Jaden Reed left that game too. He's clearly the number one.
Yeah.
And I play his touchdown prop every week.
And
I think he has a touchdown every week.
And the sleeper there is Dubs, right? Romeo Dubs. So
I don't know. I had to pick up Wicks because I'm desperate for wide receivers, and that hasn't gone very well.
Well, Wicks as
It's
well.
like
He's
a guessing
questionable,
game which guy gets it.
Because Wicks is just as good. Right? I like Wicks, but he doesn't get consistent looks. But he's questionable. I think he got banged up a little bit last week. The key there, though, is Tucker Kraft. I don't know if you've noticed the tight end Tucker Kraft. 2 games ago was really strong. I think he scored a touchdown last week as well. So Jordan is really having a lot of options there. He might not be the greatest quarterback, but he's definitely making the best of what he has to do with. So, again, it looks like you said you're taking the Packers?
Yes.
I'm taking the Packers, too.
All right. Same side again. Next game
Probably not good.
is the Lions at the Vikings. It's opened at...
Typically, like years past, when we're lined, we're usually really good together.
Well,
But
hopefully
this is scaring
we're
me,
right.
though, right now. I don't know.
Because
we haven't been
at least if we're on opposite sides, somebody is always right.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. We might tank it. But, we
right.
haven't been on the same side much this year.
All right, so open at -3 in favor of the Lions. It's at Vikings -1.5. This is another interesting game. It is a division game. Vikings are 5-0 in the season. They are coming off of the bye week. Lions obviously coming off that big revenge game, blowout win against Dallas last week. I wish, in hindsight, I had just loaded up on that game.
Yeah, right. I went the other way.
I was afraid of the hook.
I was
afraid of the 3 and a hook.
I was looking at the trend, like, go against the public. Like, this game makes sense for you to
that
take
was
the
my
Lions,
lock.
and I went Dallas.
Dan Campbell just screams
Like an
revenge. So I'm hoping that he didn't waste too much time on that game with this game right behind it, because this is a division game, means a little more. They did lose Aiden Hutchinson in that game, most likely for the rest of the season.
That's not good. Did you see that replay?
I don't understand how a leg does that. Was that real?
He got whipped around.
I know, but it was like his leg was bent all the way around.
Yeah.
I don't think it should do that.
A lot of the replays I saw were super slow motion. You know what I mean? Or
they
slower
had a
motion.
still image.
It's just that leg's hanging out there, and you hit one of these guys' real thick legs. You know what I mean? It snapped like that. It's nasty. Oh, that was horrible.
I don't know. All right. So now this game, obviously, the Vikings are 5-0. Darnold, he's going to come back to earth at some point. I don't know when. But I think the bigger thing for them is their defense, Brian Flores. Now, I was kind of surprised to see this because there was the whole story about when Flores was with the Patriots. He was the defensive coordinator when the Patriots faced the Rams in the Super Bowl. And basically Flores said he was going to make Jared Goff shit his pants. And I think he was successful in doing that. However, these teams did play obviously 2 times last year, and the Lions won both of those games 30-20 and 30-24.
Without quarterbacks.
Huh?
Right? Was Cousins healthy?
No.
Right?
He was not. It was Mullins in one, and I'm not sure about the other. Yeah. But regardless, I'm focused more on Goff versus the defense. So I'm a little less worried about that. And obviously the Lions' strength is their run game. So I think that they can be successful. I was kind of surprised here as well to see, I guess the Lions are kind of like America's team now, because the money is on the Lions. So that had me worried a little bit because I would have thought more people would be on the Vikings
But yet the line opened up at 3 and is down to 1.5 for the Vikings, right? It opened up Lions 3.
Yes.
And now it's down to 1.5. So the line's moving towards the Vikings.
Yes, but the money is on the Lions.
Well, that doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense.
So I am going to take the Lions in this one.
Well, this is the first game that we're going to be on the other side because I know the Vikings have to lose a game, but I don't think it's this one. I think for that reason, everybody's going to be on the Lions again, like last week. But the Vikings are the legitimate. Obviously, their record shows one story that they're 5-0 and they're pretty good. They're coming off a bye. And I'm buying Sam Darnold. Like, I think Sam Darnold is legit. I've been liking him. And
he's made his mistakes.
Really bad times. Yes, but he's got a lot of talent around him. And with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison
he's
receiving
also got the defense holding the other side in check.
Oh, yeah.
So if he has to play keep up, it could be trouble.
Nobody's anointing Sam Darnold, Tom Brady. Let's be clear here. But I love to see him manage
it's easy to win a game when your defense holds the other team to 7 points.
Yeah.
Well, right?
They're not winning 10-7.
Well, they've won a few games where the other side only put up 7 points.
Good. That's good defense. But again, they're not winning 8-7, 9-7, 12-7.
No,
they're scoring
but
points,
my point is
he's
when
smart
you
enough
don't
to put the ball up to Justin Jefferson and he's good enough
toe to toe, score to score with the other team, it makes it easier on your quarterback. If he's got to play keep up,
that's a possibility
then
this week.
He's going to throw some interceptions.
It's definitely a possibility he's going to be playing keep up against the Lions because we all know that they have a dynamic offense, right? And the Sun God is my favorite player.
And I'm going to tell you this right now.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I have David Montgomery on my fantasy team, and the guy I'm up against this week has Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh, wow.
So I guarantee you it's going to be a Gibbs week for sure. 2 touchdowns minimum.
Yeah, well, I think neither of them are going to have that great of a game, so we'll see what happens. I think they're going to put the ball in the air if they're going to score and win this one. I'm going to take the Vikings. I'm on the other side. I'll take -1.5, and we'll see if it goes back up a little bit before kickoff on Sunday.
All right. Next game, Seahawks at Falcons. Opened at -3.5 in favor of the Falcons. It's
You want to bet on that one?
No, I don't. I don't want to jinx it. Falcons -3. So obviously Seahawks started out strong on the season. They were 3-0. Then they've lost 3. Falcons defense is not good. They really have no pass rush. I worry a little bit about Seattle traveling east for a 1:00 game. And they actually played 3 games in 11 days, those 3 losses. So they played Thursday last week, so they do have some rest under their belts. I know, Cousins looks good with the Falcons. They've been winning games. He's been just moving them down the field. But I'm not quite sold on the Falcons, so I'm just going to take the points and go with the Seahawks.
We're on the same side there. I'm going to keep it short on here, but I just like to see Seattle end the 3-game losing streak, right? They started out 3-0
I think
and
they're
looked like
due.
world beaters. I totally
I don't know
agree.
they look like world beaters, but...
Well, we're on the same... Well, I mean, they looked good in the first 3 games. They looked horrible. They lost some matchups that they could have won, or I feel like they should have won, but didn't really show up as, I think that Seattle here is the play. Kirk Cousins is, going to tear up some bad teams, but I think Seattle's kind of punched in the face the last 3 weeks, but it's not like they're dealing with a lot of injuries per se. They show up this week traveling to Atlanta. I think Atlanta's still, like you said, a little bit of a fraud, a little bit of a fugazi, and they're 4-2 tied with Tampa, top of the division. So it's a little bit too much success, too early for Atlanta. I'll take the Seattle Seahawks.
Can we should actually, you mentioned the division. Can we just stop and talk about that game last night? Was that the worst football game you've ever watched?
Oh, I've seen a lot worse.
I mean, it was horrible. Did the Saints just fucking throw in the towel?
I mean, it was a bad game, but I mean, they scored 33 points, the Broncos, even though it was all field goals.
Peyton, because he's in New Orleans. But I mean, the Saints, it literally is like they just gave up.
I liked watching Jamal Williams run.
It was horrible. I didn't even watch it. I had to stop myself from even trying to put any bets in because I was like, don't like you'll just be mad at yourself.
A team that won 33, put up 33 points and won 33-10. I've never seen a quarterback look so scared back there. Nick Spell. When he got back there, he rolled out a couple times, and it was like he had a tight end wide open or a running back out of the backfield, and he just like he got weird. I don't even say happy feet. He got weird feet, and he would like not even have his feet set and throw the ball 3 feet short. He did it probably like 3 times at least.
I don't know. And that Spencer Rattler can't hold on to the ball.
Well, he's a bum. I mean, listen. I mean, sure, he was good in college, but Spencer Rattler's not the answer in the NFL.
All right, moving on. Next game: Panthers at Commanders. Open.
You're Seattle.
Yeah, open at -3 for the Commanders. It's up to -8.5. So both these teams have pretty bad defenses. They should be able to move the ball on each other. I think the Commanders probably have a better offense. 8.5 points is just too much. I mean, I could see the Panthers keeping up a little bit. I think the score last week, I was on the Panthers. It was a little deceiving because they were in it right up until the end. And I think Dalton threw a pick. So I definitely think the Commanders will win. But I just don't like 8.5.
I don't like 8.5, but I'm going to take it. I'm on Washington.
Okay. All right. Next game is the Raiders at the Rams. Rams are coming off the bye week. They are 1-4 on the season, or should that be a 5-4? I think that's right. So obviously the Raiders have no Devontae Adams anymore. Shocker. He's with the Jets.
Baltimore's 4-2. Is that who you're asking about?
Who?
Baltimore?
No, I'm not talking about Baltimore.
Oh, Rams, Raiders.
Yes, I'm talking about the Rams.
Are you talking about the Rams?
Yeah, they're 1-4.
Rams are 1-4.
Yeah, because they had a bye week.
The Raiders are 2-4.
2-4. Yep. So I Googled this, like, who's the starting quarterback for the Raiders? And, like, no clear answer came up, but I'm pretty sure, which I thought was odd because I should be able to get an answer. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Aiden O'Connell starting again in this game. Not 100%, but it sounds like Cooper Kupp should be back for the Rams.
My sources are telling me it's O'Connell.
Yeah. Now, I don't know, like, the Rams are 1-4 on the season. I don't know if they deserve to be 7-point favorites, but I got to go with the team that has the better quarterback, the better run game, and the better coach. Rams.
Yeah, Rams. I think the Rams are the play here just because the Raiders seem defeated, right? They traded Devontae.
Well, who knows? Maybe Devontae Adams was cancer in the locker room.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's the case. I mean, he might have been a cancer last week or two with, just claiming to get out. But let's all remember that the reason why he went to the Raiders in the first place was because the quarterback that had left him is down in New Orleans now, right? So he had no real ties to the Raiders. And he was either going to want to go to New Orleans, which he says he denied, or the Jets to get with his first homie.
There was never any, potential that he was going anywhere else. I don't care what anybody says. All right.
You don't think there was a chance he was going to go to New Orleans?
No.
Well,
he made that mistake once. He went to Oakland because
wore out.
And even that I don't think really worked out that well. Like, he didn't have great success with Carr in Las Vegas. Okay.
I'm going Rams too. I don't love it though. I mean, 6.5 with the Rams. Come on.
I always worry about McVay, because he'll once he gets a lead, and then he'll just run, and kind of let the other team back into it. So that's the only thing that really worries me.
McVay kind of a douchebag?
I don't know. I mean, I liked Sean McVay, and then I didn't like Sean McVay.
I don't like him.
Now I kind of like him.
He seems like a douchebag. He seems like a little runt.
Well, yeah, he's short.
He's like a little runt that you picked on in school, but I feel kind of like that could be.
Have you ever seen his
McDermott.
wife, though?
Is she hot?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, he makes a lot of money.
His voice would drive me crazy.
Well, he just seems like a douchebag.
He has the Kermit the Frog voice.
I mean, he's not like the guy in Buffalo. He looks like, he looks like a little bit of a little guy that got picked on, but he seems tough. You know what I mean? You wouldn't really say anything to his face.
But he seems likable.
I would call a punk and a douche to his face.
I think people like him.
McVay? Yeah, McVay. I don't know. They like him in LA.
You can't call him a douchebag and then say people like him.
Maybe in LA, but there's a lot of douchebags in LA. So douchebags hang together.
All right, whatever. Moving on. Next game. You're such a douchebag. Next game is the Chiefs at the 49ers. This opened at -2.
Sean McVay, what a tool.
In favor of the Niners. It's at -1.5. So this is obviously a Super Bowl rematch. But we have Andy Reid and his off the bye record. I believe it's 12-4. And Mahomes as an underdog. Jordan Mason, I don't think he's on the injury report anymore, but he did leave the game last week and then came back out for the second half, touched the ball once, and then sat on the sideline. So I'd be a little worried that he's going to hurt his shoulder again. And interestingly, I always check the injury reports before we do the podcast. Now, the Niners lost their kicker 2 games ago.
Mason?
Moody,
I mean.
and then the guy that they had last week to replace him, Matt Wright, they are both out on the injury report. So I don't know who the kicker's going to be.
Anders Carlson. It's the guy they signed this week to be the kicker.
Okay. Well, he was was he with the Raiders before? But that worries me. Kicker issues are not good. So I got to go with the Chiefs. The Chiefs always win.
Was he on the Packers?
Maybe the Packers. It's not important.
Yeah. Last year they cut him.
Okay. So he's been cut. He's the 3rd string kicker. That's not good when you're playing the Chiefs, who you always lose to anyway. So I got the Chiefs. Who you got?
I like the Chiefs too because I think this is where, first of all, Andy Reid off the bye is amazing, right? He rarely loses, and he's been doing this thing for, over 20 years. So that should probably be enough. Go ahead.
I don't know if it matters that much, but Juwan Jennings is out for the 49ers too.
Well, the rookie's coming back that got shot, right? Kid got shot by trying to...
Well, they have Debo and they have...
trying to protect his watch or something.
No, he's buying a watch.
What's that guy's name?
I don't know. I don't think he's relevant to this conversation. Debo is healthy and Ayuk is healthy.
Ricky Pearsall. Right?
That's it.
All right. So Ricky Pearsall's back, but the point
Is he
here is
back
that...
though? Like, was he ever there? I don't know that he's ever
He's never
played.
there. He never made it off the streets of San Francisco. This is a tough, rough street. Well, you got Kamala there letting all the degenerates
All right,
back
now
out
we're
of
not
jail.
talking politics. We're talking football.
All right. So Brock Purdy, these Niner clowns think that Brock Purdy was entering the MVP conversation last year. And I think this is a chance
that's right.
where
You hate the 49ers
Chiefs can,
anyway.
Come into town and show the Niners what a real MVP quarterback looks like. And I do think that, Mahomes is going to look to have a really good passing game here and kind of show like, hey, don't forget, little guy, like I'm the man. I'm the best quarterback in the league. And I think they'll win by at least 3 here. I'll take the Chiefs on the road.
Same side of that one. All right. Next game is the Jets at the Steelers. This opened at Jets -1. It's at Jets -1.5. So Rodgers got his security blanket back. I guess we could say bye-bye Mike Williams, right?
Bye-bye. He's never going to get the ball again.
All right.
Man, that was just so painful last week. I mean, there's so many balls that were just like hit him in the hands. Like there's one where he's the hot read. The blitz is coming in. It's like 3rd and 5. He turns around and the ball goes right through his hands and hits him like pretty much in the privates.
Well, and then towards the end of the game there and he was like laying on the turf or whatever it is, and you just know like the thought going through his head is like, I'm done now. Like he's totally done in the fucking...
He had such a good shot here to be good.
Because
he's one of the main reasons why they
Rodgers is going to hate him now because he missed it.
Well, now I think
But he was always boom or bust, more bust than boom. So it is what it is. Now, the Steelers are starting Russell Wilson apparently in this game. And I have to admit, last week you started talking about Russell Wilson when we got to the Steelers. And I was like, why is he talking about Russell Wilson so much?
I told you he was coming.
So, yeah. Now, I worry a little bit about Aaron Rodgers when he plays a good defense. So I looked up the stats, like how often has Aaron Rodgers played the Steelers. They only played once, like in recent history, and it was the Packers. Did win that game. And I have a little trivia question for you, Steve. How many Super Bowls does Aaron Rodgers have?
1.
And what year did he win that?
11.
You are right. And who was it against?
Pittsburgh.
It was.
He
won that one.
I remember the Super Bowl. I remember hosting the party. Shout out to Nikki, big Steelers fan. Was at the party. Was the only one that really gave a shit about the game, other than the rest of us drinking our faces off.
Okay. Yeah, that was before our time together, I guess. But
It was before our time.
yeah, so just thought that was
By
interesting.
like a
So
year or
I
two.
think, Aaron Rodgers got Devontae Adams back. He'll pull out the victory here, I'm sure. And I don't have much
Although it
faith.
was like 2011, I think you did kind of have a twinkle.
I guess
in
I
your
wasn't
eye for me.
invited.
You had a twinkle in your eye for me, I think.
I wasn't invited to that. So what do you got?
Well, I got, the Jets here. I think this is what we've all been waiting for. I've been waiting for the Jets to take off. I know that Adams has just been there for less than a week, but this is his man crush. This is what they wanted to do. And I think, now that they got rid of the coach, they bring Devontae Adams in and watch out for the Jets. I think
I wouldn't go that far, but I think they'll get the win here.
It's probably not going to be like 49 points this week and everything's harmonious, right? And everything's clicking on all cylinders this week, but it's coming. And I think that, Russell Wilson is just tough for me because I'm not going to trust Russell Wilson until he proves that he's back to the quarterback that he was
I don't think
when
he's
he
ever
first
gonna
started
get
in
there.
Seattle. And I don't think
But,
so either because he's been given the money, right? And he's kind of like, he's soft. I feel like he's soft. And I don't understand why Pittsburgh's going away from what's working. I mean, Justin Fields, because of all the history and the money that goes with him, they probably need to get him in there to see if he's going to find the magic, right? Because they know that Wilson has done it before, right? So regardless of if he has played bad over the last 3 years or since he's been in Denver and he didn't really have that great of a year when he was in Seattle, right? There's still that magic. That you can put on the tapes and see him winning a Super Bowl, right? You know that he's good enough to get there. But you're not sure if Fields is good enough to get there. Well, you know that he was, is what I'm saying. So
I don't know.
when he was there. So yes, you know that he was there, right?
Yeah,
so
but I don't.
The way this league works is that once you get there, look at Flacco. He's still getting jobs. He's like fucking 40 years old,
And he's played
because
well.
he won the Super Bowl.
But he's played
I'm
well.
saying you get there, you're gonna give opportunities, especially with that big contract. So my point is that he's gonna get an opportunity. And maybe rightfully so, but I don't think so. I think you ride that hot hand with Justin Fields and try to get him going. He's more of a Pittsburgh type quarterback, kind of grind it out. He can run. Not that they have runners, but I mean, he's not like completely efficient with his arm, but he can make up for it running. I think basically they're going to end up coming back to Justin Fields. So if I was Justin Fields, I wouldn't sell his house in Pittsburgh yet.
That's what it comes down to for me is if you weren't winning, then fine, change the quarterback. When you have Russell Wilson there, he was intended to be the starter. But they won last week. Justin Fields has been serviceable. I don't know why you make the change.
They're 4-2. They're tied with Pittsburgh.
And if you really wanted to get Russell Wilson in there, then you probably should have gotten him in sooner. Because I'm sure the last couple weeks, like you're saying, he's still injured, but he could have played.
Like I said, they're going. I understand the thought, and hopefully he does catch lightning in a bottle. And like I said last week, Tomlin can, if anybody, I feel like Tomlin can get him back to where he was, and maybe just give him a big old slice of humble pie, and that's what he needs to be knocked back down on his ass and start off from scratch, right? And not be thinking about the money and the contract and the pretty girlfriend, pretty wife, whatever. So it's worth a shot, I guess, but I just don't have faith that it's going to work at the end of the day.
Let's keep this rolling here. All right, so this is
Jets, Jets, Jets.
Okay. Next game. Now, these are both Monday night games. We have this 2-game.
And we're already through.
Monday night. It's been
Sundays?
45 minutes.
Oh. Man,
all right.
Can't stop talking.
So the first of the two is the Ravens at the Bucks. Open at Ravens -5. It's at Ravens -3.5. This is another interesting game. Ravens are actually 5-0 versus the Bucks over the course of history, but that does go back to 2006, so I'm not putting too much stock in that. Now, these teams did play each other in 22. That was when Brady was with the Bucks. The Ravens came back and won that game 27-22. Now, the Bucks generally have a good run defense. They are suffering a lot of injuries in the secondary. So they are giving up some points through the air. Now, Baker Mayfield obviously played the Ravens quite a bit when he was with the Browns. In 4 seasons there, he, up against the Ravens, had 3 wins, 5 losses. So I'm kind of torn on this. Now, apparently, Mike Evans is injured. He was DNP at practice today. Normally that's when they're DNP on a Friday, not good, but this is a Monday night game, so it kind of shifts the practice schedule. So keep an eye on him. If he doesn't play, I would be kind of worried. I am going to take the points and go with the Bucks, just on the basis if they can limit the run, then they might be able to pull out the victory.
So listen, we were talking about, what it's going to be like at the end of the year with the AFC and who's going to be contending. And one team that I neglected to say was the Ravens. And I think they're definitely headed, you talked about Derrick Henry. I don't know why you're going off him here. Screw the Bucks, especially if Evans isn't going to play. He's a big part of the spacing that teams are allowing Tampa Bay based off the fact that Chris Godwin and Jalen McMillan are on the field with him. And let's say Baker Mayfield is really kind of playing, they're working good play action and getting Baker Mayfield a good chance at success. And he's delivering the ball down the field, especially between the hash marks, right? And I always thought like between the hash marks is the easiest place to throw the ball. It's right in the front. You don't have to have the long side to side, right? And you can make those reads easy and see, if you got linebackers in there and if you're playing the high-low game with the linebackers, it's an easy read. I feel like I could sit back and pick that middle of a field apart all day. And Baker Mayfield's really shown that he can, the play calling is going to his strength where he's showing that he can really pick that middle of the field apart. So that concerns me. But if Mike Evans is not going to play, I feel like it's going to hurt them where they can't win the game if Mike Evans is not going to play. If he is going to play, then I think this will be a tough game. But, I don't believe that the Ravens are going to lose this. At worst case, the line is 3.5. I expect it to come down to possibly 3. But hopefully the Ravens can win this one by at least a touchdown.
Well, and
because the Bucks are due for an ass whooping.
Well, they lost to Denver.
Yeah, but they just put like 50 up.
Yeah, but the Saints packed it in last week too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you don't really have.
I don't think that means anything.
I like the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to destroy them.
This is a Monday night game, so I always worry about the Monday night games. There are 2 of them, but I would think that most people will be watching this one because the other game kind of sucks.
Is that Chargers Cardinals? So we're both on. So you're on the Bucks, right?
Watch the money on that one, but I am.
Where's the money
Bucks.
right now? You said
I didn't look because the stupid slate that it does week 7, but then it has Monday Night Football separate, so you have to look at it separate. And I didn't check it. All right, and then the final game of the week is the second Monday night game. Chargers at Cardinals. Opened -1 for the Cardinals. It's at -2.5 for the Chargers. I didn't really have a lot on this game. I don't think the Cardinals are that good. I was right about them last week. They got smoked by the Packers, I believe it was. Chargers defense is pretty good, so I like what Harbaugh's got going there with the Chargers, so I'm on the Chargers.
I think they're due for a loss, really. The Cardinals looked bad last week, but they're at home. They're coming home on Monday night. They're going to be fired up for this game. I just don't think that they're going to have to put up more than 23 points to win this game because I don't think the Chargers are going to score that much.
Well, I don't think the Cardinals are going to score that much.
Well, I think they can get up to 23, 27 points and win this game. So probably a little bit of a back and forth. Maybe it's Chargers by a little bit of a lead in the beginning. I don't really look like the Cardinals are going to blow them out, but by the end of the game, I think Kyler Murray will, get the Cardinals moving down there in the fourth quarter. I don't think Harrison Jr. is playing in this game, is he?
I don't know. It's 100%. I think he's just questionable.
He's just questionable?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can figure it out real quick. It looks like he is questionable, but hopefully he plays. But they still have Jonathan Connor. He hasn't really done much. And I don't think that,
It's not Jonathan.
Why do I always do that? James Conner.
Yeah.
But, the only thing that's worrisome about San Diego is J.K. Dobbins. He looks like he's getting, him and Gus Edwards get going, then it could be a problem.
Gus Edwards is out.
Oh, is he? Okay.
I think he might be on IR.
Well, J.K. Dobbins is definitely the better running back and the more electric one, and he's had some good games this week.
Yes,
this year. I'm sorry.
Yes, he has.
But I'm going to take the Cardinals.
All right, so
you're taking the Chargers?
Yeah.
Is this our betting game? Let's make it worthwhile because nobody cares about this game until we put $20 on it.
All right, sounds like a plan. All right, so that's going to do it for us for week 7. Remember, if you're watching, like, subscribe, and I will post any updates, any changes on the comment section. Peace out.
Go Penn State. Penn State undefeated 6